Hello, we are a small group of young people who have spent 4 days preparing and delving into the legacy and refurbishment of the iconic and prestigious Porthcawl Grand Pavilion.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
Hi, I'm Evie.
Hi, I'm Oscar.
Ewan.
We are the iBroadcast team that has prepared this video for you today.
We have been fortunate to have interviewed 4 very important people with strong connections to the pavilion.
They are Roger Burnell,
Terry Arnold,
Kelly O'Neill.
We're confused.
But before we take a closer look at these interviews, let us take you through some of the history of the Porthcawl Grand Pavilion.
Grand Pavilion is opened in 1932.
In the 1940s, the pavilion was used to entertain the troops and boost the morale during the war years.
The 1950s saw major events such as the Transatlantic Concert in 1957, as well as the Miners' Eisteddfod. The Miners' Fortnight became an integral part of the South Wales holiday scene in the 60s. Families would flock to the pavilion to watch shows that included, around this time, famous singers like Billy J. Kramer.
Stan Stennard started to produce his fantastic shows and pantomimes during the 1970s. The 70s also saw the introduction of bathing beauty contests. In the 1980s, a wide range of performers graced the stage of the pavilion, including Rob Brydon and Ruth Jones. Wrestling, dance and ballet became more of a feature, and many choirs performed there.
In the 1990s, the pavilion developed office space and a cafe. There was also a visit from the then Prime Minister, John Major. The first ever Elvis Festival came to Porthcawl in 2004, and more varied events started to take place at the pavilion, including local talent in the form of Bridgend Youth Theatre.
In 2015, management of the pavilion was taken on by the RN Trust. This era saw performances from the likes of Catherine Jenkins, Cerys Matthews, Jason Donovan and Max Boyce. The 90th anniversary of the pavilion was celebrated despite the COVID pandemic, but there are even more exciting times to come with the redevelopment of this historic building.
Someone who has a lot of historical attachment with the pavilion, both as a spectator and as a teacher and director, is Roger Burnell.
So Roger, one of my first questions I have to ask is, what is your fondest memories of working in the pavilion?
Oh, fondest memory. I suppose doing shows with people who are still friends with me after many years. It holds lots and lots of lovely, lovely memories, and things come flashing past different shows with people who've now sort of made it in the industry, like Rob Brydon and Ruth Jones, and doing lots of things with them and still being in touch with them. And the pavilion still means a lot to them as well, you know.
Is there anyone else who you've taught?
Oh, there've been lots. I saw one programme there actually, which is a show called Funny Girl. And the girl who's Funny Girl, she was only 16.
Yes.
And she went on to star in a show called Stella with Ruth Jones actually.
Oh, yes.
So Karen Palada, and she's come back from Spain recently and now lives in Porthcawl. And we go to the pavilion, we have a cup of tea and think about those times in the past, which are lovely, of course.
What's your favourite show in the Pavilion Theatre?
I suppose I've got lots of favourite shows. It'd be difficult to pick one. I like Oliver. I like West Side Story. And I did one show which is a little bit different called My Fair Lady with Ruth Jones, which was a lovely show, very different sort of show. But it's been lots, as you know, you've been in shows yourself, and it's we do lots of exciting shows, and each one is different, isn't it? And unique.
Has there been a decade where you would say that the pavilion was at its best?
That's a really good question. I think the pavilion's gone through different decades. Remember when I was your age, or a bit younger than you actually, I used to go there and watch bands. So there'd be bands that were big in the time, like The Who, The Animals, Amen Corner, and I would go in the summer to the pavilion to see those bands. There wasn't so much shows then. This is back in the 60s, it's a long time ago. But then things developed, summer shows developed in the 70s and 80s, and lots of other things are now happening, or were happening, and will happen in the Pavilion, which are really, really exciting. So every decade has been a growth, I think.
Next, we spoke to Terry Elmeld, a volunteer at the Grand Pavilion.
What made you think of volunteering there?
I found myself on my own. So about 6 months after that, I saw a poster for volunteering in a pavilion, and I wanted something to do, and so I thought I would do that.
Sad to see it being shut down for 2 years, or?
No, I wouldn't say sad. I mean, I'm going to miss it, but then saying that, at the end of the day, you know, when it will be much better when it's opened. So looking forward to that.
Do you see yourself going back when it reopens?
Yes, yeah.
Former operations manager Kelly O'Neill joined us to answer some questions about the pavilion.
So how long have you been in Philippines?
I started in the Grand Pavilion in 2012, and I was sort of a finance officer. And then about 3 or 4 years later, I was promoted to become the operations manager, and then later the general manager. So all in all, I've been connected with the theatre for 12 years.
The only time I really watched shows was when I came as a customer. If I was working, I might pop in and watch it for a couple of minutes, but generally speaking, I had things I needed to do, so I couldn't sort of stop and relax and enjoy the show. But yeah, it was, unfortunately, I didn't always get to see very much.
What has been your favourite show that the Pavilion has?
I have to say, some of my favourite shows are either the pantomimes or the sort of annual shows that the Comp have come in and done.
Oh yeah.
Or also BYT.
Were you there to watch We Will Rock You by BYT?
I was, yes. I saw the last show, and yes, by the end of the evening I was in tears, and I was very emotional about the fact that that would be our last performance for many years to come. So yes, it was an emotional night, and I absolutely enjoyed the performance. Did you get a chance to go and see it, or?
Yeah, I did. And it seems kind of poetic and, you know, theatrical that BYT or a youth group that has been in the Pavilion for so long closed it off.
Yeah, it was very fitting. I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Part of my job is I run Bridge End Youth Theatre, and BYT, as it's known, has been performing at the Grand Pavilion for 25 years. So this evening is a big deal for all of us because we are going to be the last show in the Grand Pavilion before its refurbishment, and it is a BYT senior production.
What songs you could be doing?
Oh my gosh, they're all Queen songs, all of them. They're really fun, they're really good.
What's your favourite song?
I think mine would have to be Somebody to Love, because that's the song my character sings.
Oh yeah, and you,
good.
sir?
Probably One Vision, quality song, brilliant dancing, good lighting, Sid.
Very, very excited, very mixed emotions, because it's going to feel very strange tomorrow when you know, everything's under lock and key and the public aren't coming in here, but it's a historical building. It's wonderful for Porthcawl. This is a fitting way to see it go out as well with the youth theatre. They just they've been part of the building for so long now. It's a great show that they're going to be doing tonight, and great to see so many friendly faces here to come celebrate it. But we can't wait, really. I mean, it's going to be a game changer for Porthcawl. For us to be part of the regeneration of Porthcawl going into the future is just amazing.
Well, I think this is a marvellous venue, and once the refurbishment is completed, it will be even better. I'm really looking forward to seeing it in its refurbished state.
This place, I've seen some wonderful shows here. The people who work here are all fantastic. It's a wonderful place to come, and it's really exciting to see the investment in it, see what will happen next, and some great new shows to come in the future.
Always adored this building. What a place. There's so many stories, so many wonderful things that have happened here, and it's just a thrill to know that this is going to be preserved for all of our futures, really.
Very excited as to what the future holds. The building is in need of some love and attention now. It's served us well for nearly 92 years, but it's time to kind of make some serious investments. So we're really excited about the future. Sad to see it closing for a little while, but it will be absolutely worth it so that we can sort of safeguard it for future generations to come.
Everybody was very emotional of the last production performed at the Pavilion.
We'll ask Richard views the new Pavilion in the theatre.
Can you tell us a bit about your role?
I'm Chief Executive of Owen Cultural Trust. That probably means a lot of things. It's leading the organisation, it's trying to make the right decisions at the right time. We've got around 250 people that work for Owen, so that comes with a heavy responsibility sometimes in making sure that we've got a happy workforce here that can go about their business, as you're seeing here in the library today, day to day. So it's kind of my job to create the conditions that other people can be creative and get on with doing theirs and supporting the community.
How to welcome to the show in the theatre? So
we'll continue to progress the panto. That's always going to be there. You know, come December, that's really important in the calendar of events in Porthcawl. Don't say, oh no, it isn't, because it is. Things like music, drama, supporting the local organisations that do their bit. Bridgend Youth Theatre, that they're really important and attached to the Pavilion as well. So we'll be doing a whole host of things. Cinema will also be probably a bigger part of the programme than it is now, because we'll have the new studio space where we'll put some films on as well. So it'll be a real mix of stuff.
What is your favourite part of the new development of the Pavilion?
For me, I think there's two favourite parts. I think it's uncovering bits that haven't seen the light of day for years and years. So some of the original heritage of the building, some of the original windows and stuff that just literally haven't seen light coming through them for decades. I think that and the new studio theatre. So it's something we haven't got at the moment. I think it's something that's going to be really valuable for local groups, but also for people like Bridgend Youth Theatre and stuff, to have their own dedicated space to rehearse and perform in a slightly more intimate environment. So that's really exciting, having that new space. But I'm going to love seeing all the heritage kind of being brought back to life.
Where did you get the funding for it, and how much did it cost?
So the budget for the project is just short of £20 million. Sounds a lot of money, but it's probably not when you consider everything that we need to trying to achieve. Just over 17 million of that comes from the UK government's Levelling Up Fund, and then the shortfall, which is still quite a large amount of money, over £2 million, is coming from Bridgend County Borough Council.
And what is the impact you hope for with this?
First of all is to secure the building's future for another century. That's the first, because by doing that, the other bits of the jigsaw fall into place. If the building's there, then we fill it with people. One thing we've noticed is the building's been shut and the works have started. Without people in the building isn't anything, really. It's then about getting the people back in. It's the impact it'll have locally. You know, people feel a sense of purpose and belonging to the building. It'll bring visitors in. We're going to have so much more capacity for conferences, even, you know, kind of political party conferences that used to be held there many years ago. Famous instance when Margaret Thatcher was egged on the steps coming out of there, but it had gone too small, if you like, to be able to do that now. But we'll have the facilities to be able to bring bigger things in there. Support the local organisation, support our youth theatre, which is really important, and support the visitor economy. So we had a calculation many years ago that is probably contributed around £6 million a year to the local economy. If you inflate that and think of what we're building, we'd think that in future, you know, it can have an impact of around £10 million a year to the local economy around Porthcawl and the region. That's not insignificant.
That's very substantial, especially with the other works around the town, for example.
Yes, and I think that's how we're seeing it, and certainly the council, that it's a big part of the jigsaw, but if you add that on to everything that's going on in Cozy Corner, the regeneration plans for Salt Lake and so forth, at Sandy Bay, you can see what can happen in Porthcawl, the potential that's there, and we're right in the middle of it.
Do you think that when the entire building is refurbished, it will lose some of, say, the charm or nostalgic feeling that people have for it?
Hopefully not at all, because I think what we're actually doing is bringing more of the nostalgia back by uncovering things that people haven't seen for years and years. The architects, their heritage is specialists in doing this stuff, and I think what we're going to see is it being enhanced rather than taken away. So it's not going to be some glossy, new-looking thing. It's the Grand Pavilion that's at the heart, and those key areas of it, the main auditorium, the frontage, all of that is protected under the listing, so we're kind of making that look even better than it has been.
So there are lots of different additions. Is there anything that will be gone or taken away?
No, I can't think of anything other than a few car parking spaces, maybe, as we're just going out, to create new facilities in some areas. We're actually just adding, and nothing is being taken away.
So after 92 years, the curtain has finally come down on the Grand Pavilion in its current form.
It's been 92 years of music, drama, performance and memories.
The curtain will open again. It will be Act 2 for the Grand Pavilion in Porthcawl.
To start the new era.
iBroadcast.